Hamas denounces Israeli failure to withdraw from Gaza-Egypt border. Global stocks markets drop over US recession fears.
Salam Malaysia Madani. This is World Today and my name is Daryl Baptist. Hamas has condemned Israel for keeping troops in an area of southern Gaza along the Egyptian borders, saying that they should have already withdrawn under a truce deal.
The Philadelphia Corridor, a strip of land on the Palestinian side of the Egypt-Gaza border, also known as SAHIH axis, has been a key sticking point in ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Palestinian group Hamas. Hamas said Israel did not abide by the gradual reduction of its forces in the SAHIH axis during the first phase of the truce, which began on 19th January. It added Israel did not begin its withdrawal on the 42nd day as stipulated in the agreement and had not completed it by the 50th day of the deal. In its statement, the Palestinian group said that Israel's failure to withdraw from the Philadelphia Corridor was a blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement and a deliberate attempt to undermine and nullify it. Hamas called on mediators Qatar, Egypt and the United States to intervene and ensure that Israel withdraws its forces. The group demands that the mediators and the international community intervene immediately to ensure the occupation's withdrawal and the resumption on the second phase negotiations without delay.
On a related note, the United Nations said Israel's decision to cut off electricity to Gaza is very concerning, warning that civilians in the war-ravaged Palestinian territory would face dire consequences.
Israel has halted aid deliveries to the Gaza Strip and has cut its electricity supply, disconnecting the only power line to a water desalination plant in order to ramp up pressure on Hamas. Spokesman for the UN Human Rights Office, Saif Magango, said Israel's decision to cut off electricity to Gaza following its ban last week on the entry of all humanitarian assistance and other necessities of life, including fuel needed to operate generators, is very concerning. With no electricity and with fuel being blocked, Gaza's remaining water desalination plants, healthcare facilities and bakeries are at risk of eventually shutting down, with dire consequences for civilians. Magango also said blocking access to necessities of life for civilians intended to pressure a party to an armed conflict through hardship imposed on the civilian population as a whole raises serious concerns of collective punishment. Israel's negotiating team reportedly left for Qatar to attend talks aimed at extending the fragile Gaza ceasefire. The first phase of the truce deal expired on 1st March.
Meanwhile, the head of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, or UNRWA, has rejected Israel's assertion that other organizations could replace it in Gaza, insisting that only a Palestinian state institution could take over. Israel has banned UNRWA from operating in Gaza, and agency chief Felipe Lazzarini hit back after Israel's ambassador Daniel Meron told reporters that Israel was working to find substitutes to the work of UNRWA inside Gaza.
Et l'alternative, dernier point, ce n'est pas une ONG, ce n'est pas une autre organisation des Nations Unies. La seule alternative viable, ce sont des institutions palestiniennes capables qui ont toute l'autonomie nécessaire, des institutions palestiniennes d'un État palestinien. Et c'est la raison pour laquelle, au lieu de se concentrer à vouloir faire disparaître une agence, je préférerais que l'on se concentre sur et que l'on mette toutes nos énergies et nos efforts pour une solution politique.
Lazzarini further said UNRWA is continuing to operate in Gaza as well as West Bank. UN agencies and other aid organizations have repeatedly said UNRWA could not be replaced. The agency is also the main provider of basic public services in Gaza, including education and social services for registered refugees. The Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, which controls much of Syria's oil-rich northeast, has signed a deal with the Damascus government to join Syria's new state institutions.
Interim President
Ahmed al-Sharaa
under Mazloum Abdi signed the agreement in Damascus that provides for SDF-controlled civilian and military institutions in northeast Syria to be integrated with the state. The agreement calls for SDF-controlled border crossings, an airport and oil and gas fields in eastern Syria to become part of the Damascus administration. In his first official comment following the signing of the accord, Abdi said in a post on social media that the deal represents a real opportunity to build a new Syria. He said the SDF was working together with the Syrian administration at such a critical period to guarantee a transitional phase that reflects the aspirations of the Syrian people for justice and stability. Implementation is due by the end of the year, but the accord does not specify how SDF's military operation will be integrated into Syria's defense ministry, a major sticking point in talks thus far.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Kyiv's stance during the discussions with the United States in Saudi Arabia today will be fully constructive. Zelensky expressed his recognition of the Crown Prince's endeavors to advance genuine peace. He noted that Saudi Arabia serves as an essential venue for diplomatic efforts and conveyed appreciation for the matter following his meeting with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Zelensky emphasized that he had a productive meeting with the Crown Prince, which they addressed all significant topics on the agenda, including bilateral relations and collaboration with other partners. He also had a detailed discussion with the Crown Prince on the steps and conditions needed to end the Ukraine war and secure reliable and lasting peace. Zelensky is currently in the Saudi city of Jeddah ahead of the talks between US and Ukrainian officials to discuss ways to end the Russia-Ukraine war. During this meeting, they are expected to propose a ceasefire that encompasses the Black Sea and long-range missile strikes, in addition to advocating for the release of prisoners. North Korea has fired multiple unidentified ballistic missiles the same day Seoul and Washington began a major annual joint military drill known as Freedom Shield. South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff said their military detected the missiles fired from Hwanghae province into the West Sea. The Joint Chiefs of Staff said the military will bolster surveillance and maintain a full readiness posture under close cooperation with the United States. The United States stations tens of thousands of US soldiers in South Korea, and the Allies regularly stage joint drills, which they describe as defensive in nature. But such exercises infuriate Pyongyang, which regards them as rehearsals for invasion and routinely responds with weapons tests of its own. North Korea slammed the drills as provocative act, warning of the danger of sparking war with an accidental single shot. Still ahead, highway accident in Mexico leaves at least 18 dead. Global markets slumped, with Wall Street logging sharp losses over fears that US President Donald Trump's trade policies could tip the world's biggest economy into a recession.
The moves came after Trump refused to rule out the possibility of a 2025 recession, saying there would be a period of transition because his administration is trying to bring wealth back to America. Tech stocks led the slump, with the tech-focused Nasdaq Composite Index marking its largest one-day loss since 2022. The Nasdaq plunged by 4%, bringing it to 17,468.32. The broad-based S&P 500 index retreated 2.7%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average slid 2.1%. Major tech names saw sharp losses, with Tesla shares diving 15.4%. Others among the so-called Magnificent Seven stocks, which include Google, parent Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Nvidia, also sank. While markets were previously bolstered by hopes of tax cuts and lighter regulation, Steve Sosnick of Interactive Brokers noted that the sentiment had been bogged down by more immediate worries over tariffs. Since taking office in January, Trump has imposed sweeping tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, even as he backed off some of the levies on his country's immediate neighbors.
UK Minister for Indo-Pacific, Catherine West, conveyed her appreciation for Malaysia and its resilience as a member of the Commonwealth while participating in the Royal Commonwealth Society, or RCS, of Malaysia's celebration of Commonwealth Observance Day. She praised the nation's stunning landscapes and the generous hospitality extended to her. She also emphasized the productive conversations she had with government officials regarding common goals such as economic development, security, and climate change. She also highlighted the Commonwealth's resilience and its crucial role in fostering unity and cooperation among member nations in addressing global challenges in economic growth, climate change, inequality, youth unemployment, and democracy. Indonesia and Vietnam have reached an agreement to upgrade their bilateral relations to a comprehensive strategic partner. This initiative seeks to strengthen collaboration in various areas such as politics, defense, security, scientific advancement, economic integration, and exchanges among their populations.
At a joint press conference, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto announced that he and Vietnam's Communist Party Secretary General Tu Lam had set a target to increase bilateral trade to $18 billion by 2028 from $16.7 billion last year. Prabowo added they share a common goal and vision to become a developed nation by 2045. He also expressed Indonesia's support for increased Vietnamese investment, particularly in the automotive and agricultural sectors, as both countries aim to enhance food security and contribute to the global food supply. Indonesia has 123 investment projects in Vietnam, valued at over $680 million, while Vietnamese investment in Indonesia is growing with a $1.2 billion VinFast electric car plant set up in July last year. On regional cooperation, Indonesia and Vietnam reiterated their backing for the ASEAN Community Vision for 2045, which is expected to be formally announced at the upcoming ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur in May.
Phuket, Thailand's premier tourism destination, recorded the highest tourism revenue last year, generating over 490 billion baht. Deputy Government spokesperson Sasikan Watanachan noted that Chonburi followed the revenues exceeding 310 billion baht, while Surat Thani generated more than 110 billion baht. She said that the statistics by the Department of Tourism highlighted the potential of each province to attract both domestic and international tourists. The data also serves as a valuable tool for planning appealing activities to draw more visitors while offering opportunities for provinces to enhance and upgrade their tourist attractions and services to better meet visitor demands. The revenue generated from tourism in these provinces distinctly illustrates that the tourism sector continues to be a fundamental pillar of the Thai economy, particularly in areas renowned for their exceptional natural and cultural attractions that draw visitors from across the globe. Sasikan also stated that the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra is actively stimulating all sectors of the economy, particularly focusing on increasing the number of tourists and their spending per capita.
Bila kita ada kenaikan cukai yang kita ada, kita lihat juga di mana kita boleh bagi bantuan kepada mereka yang.
An incident involving the overturning of a passenger bus on a highway in southern Mexico left at least 18 people dead and a dozen others injured. The incident happened near a small town of Santo Domingo Naro.
The government of Oaxaca state had announced that the incident took place on the Milta-Tehuantepec highway, approximately 200 meters from the entrance of the Santo Domingo Naro community. However, no information had been provided regarding the cause of the accident and any individuals who may be held accountable. The emergency teams were working around the bus, which fell into the bushes. Authorities said the cause of the accident are under investigation.
Guatemalan authorities have evacuated around 1,000 people after Central America's most active volcano erupted, spewing lava, ash and rocks. Residents with traumatic memories of a deadly eruption in 2018 sought refuge after the Fuego volcano exploded spectacularly 35 kilometers from the capital, Guatemala City. Guatemala's disaster coordination agency, CONRED, said around 900 people were moved to safety from the community of El Porvenir. Residents of another community in Las Lajitas were also evacuated. Buses brought evacuees carrying belongings to a small town or rather small hall turned into a temporary shelter, while others stayed with friends or relatives. Guatemala lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire and experiences frequent seismic and volcanic activity. In 2018, 215 people were killed and a similar number left missing when an eruption of the Fuego volcano sent rivers of lava pouring down its sides, devastating the village of San Miguel Los Lotes. Thousands of people in Australia's Queensland and New South Wales states were without power after Alfred, a downgraded tropical cyclone, continuing to bring winds of heavy rains, sparking floods. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese reminded the people to be vigilant and precautious in this difficult situation.
I do want to reiterate that whilst this is the first time for days I've been in an area where it hasn't been raining, often torrential rain, whilst that is occurring, this event is far from over. And if it's flooded, forget it. We need to continue to not be complacent.
In parts of Brisbane, properties and vehicles remained inundated by floodwater as coastal erosion took parts of the world-famous Gold Coast beaches. The storm reached the Queensland coast on Saturday as a tropical low after 16 days as a cyclone, prompting preparations by millions of residents. The state capital Brisbane was spared the brunt of the storm, which was also felt in southern neighbour New South Wales. Social media platform X went down intermittently yesterday, with owner Elon Musk blaming an unusually powerful cyber attack. Musk said in an interview with Fox Business Network's Larry Kudlow, the cyber attack came from IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Well, we're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area. Yeah. I mean, just like so, the goal here is let's not have America go bankrupt with waste and fraud. So that's what I'm here for.
According to Down Detector, a website that tracks users' reports of online outages, reports of problems with X started early yesterday, with users in Asia, Europe and North America saying they could not access the platform. Monitors said outages on the X social media platform left tens of thousands of users unable to access the site intermittently over the course of hours. At the peak, more than 40,000 people reported outages.
Pemegang polisi yang berumur 60 tahun ke atas.
Next up in sports, deadly Al Nassr duo down 10 men Esteghlal. But before that, national men's doubles shuttler Aaron Chia will compete in the 2025 All England Badminton Championships. National men's doubles head coach Harry Iman Pierngadi confirmed that Aaron, who suffered a shoulder injury recently, has been given the green light to compete in the prestigious tournament in Birmingham, England.
The Indonesian coaching legend, however, will not be in Birmingham to guide his charges due to visa problems. Aaron and his doubles partner, So Woo Yik, will begin their journey in the world's oldest badminton tournament by taking on Denmark's Rasmus Kaya and Frederik Søgaard. Aaron and Woo Yik are seeded 5th for the All England, having finished as runners-up in the 2019-2024 editions. The shoulder injury Aaron suffered led to the 2022 World Champions suffering a stunning 18-21, 8-21 opening round loss to China's young combination of Sun Wen-jun and Zhu Yi-jun in the Orleans Masters, a Super 300 tournament in France last week.
Moving on to football, Johor Darul Takzim, or JDT, will treat their Asian Football Confederation, or AFC Champions League elite match against Thailand's Buriram United at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Johor as if it were a cup final. JDT head coach Hector Bidoglio even described tonight's round of 16 return leg match as the Southern Tigers' most important game of the season. The tie is evenly poised after JDT held Buriram United to a goalless draw in the first leg match at the Buriram Stadium in Thailand on the 4th of March. Bidoglio said the team needs to give 100% for the game because it is very important for the club and its fans. He noted that he wants his men to be composed and clinical when they play against their opponents. He added the goal is to continue to advance to the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
All the time it's very difficult to choose the player because I have very good squad. All the time I take my time to choose the players until last moment. I am happy because all the players have very good skill, very good quality, experience, and for me, I love my squad, all the players.
Meanwhile, the Thai side's head coach, Osmar Los Vieira, was in a bullish mood ahead of tonight's showdown, saying he is confident that Buriram United can beat JDT and qualify for the quarter-finals.
The rhythm of the game, for example, in Buriram, the rhythm was lower than normal we play because the game is more about build-up, to try to create advantage from the beginning of the game. And it depends. I think if one goal happens, the intensity of the game will change completely, and we must be ready to understand and to follow this intensity.
JDT have been formidable at home, remaining unbeaten in 4 league stage matches. If JDT prevail, they will become the first Malaysian club to reach the final stage of Asia's most prestigious club tournament under its revamped format.
Elsewhere, Al Nassr's John Duran scored twice and Cristiano Ronaldo netted a penalty as the Saudi Pro League side booked a place in the AFC Champions League Elite last 8 with a 3-0 win over Iran's Esteghlal. Al Nassr's win in Riyadh came after a goalless draw in the first leg in Tehran last week and takes Stefano Pioli's team into the quarterfinals, which will be played in Jeddah as part of a centralized tournament from the 25th of April to the 4th of May. Duran put Al Nassr in front after 9 minutes, with the Colombian lifting the ball over Syed Hossein Hosseini after the Esteghlal goalkeeper gifted possession to the striker 25 meters from goal. The Saudis doubled their lead from the penalty spot, Cristiano Ronaldo stepping up in the 27th minute to convert with typical confidence following Mohamed Niknaf's mistimed challenge on Sadio Mane. Esteghlal's task was made almost impossible when Mehran Ahmadi was sent off for a second bookable offence late in the first half as he caught Mohamed Al-Fatil in the face with a flailing arm. Duran claimed his second goal of the game 6 minutes from time when he whipped a low strike into the bottom corner, having earlier hit the post as Al Nassr eased through. In another match, Al Saad also progressed and booked their place in the last 8 with a 4-2 aggregate victory against UAE champions Al Wasl. The visitors held a 1-1 draw in the first leg in Dubai 1 week earlier, took an early goal through Fabio Lima. However, Al Saad claimed victory as a result of an 11-minute spell in the first half against Al Wasl that saw the Qataris score 3 times to overturn Fabio Lima's opener. The Brazil-born forward gave his side the lead in the 10th minute, sweeping a first-time shot home after Alexis Perez' centre had arched over the Al Saad backline. But Akram Afif unlocked the Al Wasl defence to haul Al Saad level 16 minutes later, driving towards the byline before pulling the ball back into the path of Mustafa Meshal, who slotted into the bottom corner. Yusuf Attal's strike saw Al Saad take the lead on the half hour as he cut inside towards goal before his shot from the tightest of angles deflected past Khalid Al Sinani via the boot of Al Wasl defender Jung Soon Hyung. Asian Player of the Year, Afif showed his quality with the third goal. In the English Premier League, Newcastle's United Bruno Guimaraes poked home the only goal in a 1-0 win at West Ham United that lifted his side into 6th place. Harvey Barnes was Newcastle's main threat in the opening half, wasting one good chance and then forcing a sharp reflex save from Alfonso Areola with a close-range flick. He was fully involved in Newcastle's winner as his deft chip cross-picked out Guimaraes, who stretched out his leg to deflect the ball into the net. Having gone in front, Newcastle barely mustered another attack but were disciplined at the back against West Ham, who huffed and puffed but offered little threat. It was an impressive display by Newcastle, and the win put them right back in the mix for a Champions League qualifying berth. Newcastle have 47 points from 28 games, level with Manchester City and 2 points behind 4th place Chelsea. West Ham were seeking a 3rd league win in a row, but were disappointing and managed only a couple of efforts on target as they remained in 16th place with 33 points. And that wraps up World Today. In our top story, Hamas denounces Israeli failure to withdraw from Gaza-Egypt border. Tune in to Malaysia Tonight, coming up at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and Saluran Berita RTM. Till then, I'm Daryl Baptist from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching and have a great day.